bring $25,000.
Who's that?
It was Ladamboso that was in charge of that team.
Who was that?
Akim Agbetu.
Okay.
He didn't bring the money. And immediately they told him they are going to drop him. Well, he was there. On a particular day, they were training, they were playing matches, and the FA officials came to watch the training. Go project now. And they put him like maybe 30 minutes to go. And the boy was a beast. He was a menace. And they were like, where is the team list that you submitted? The boy's name was not on it. But he was the best player in training, right? And they were trying to maneuver to make excuses, but the excuses didn't work. It's okay, put his name. Then I put his name. Last minute, he made it in. They went to the tournament again. First 2 games, they didn't give him a game. They didn't give him a game to play. They now give him that game against Japan, where he was the man of the match. These things happen in our football. To say they don't happen is very, very funny. And the time John Fashanu came to national team, if you want to look at it carefully, it was Chris Udumezi that was the coach of the national team, not Otto Gloria or anybody else. And until Sam Allardyce admitted that it takes money, I am very, very sure that the hordes of Nigerians and Nigerian journalists will swear that that man cannot take money. And I have inferred that coaches like Sir Alex Ferguson, Arsene Wenger, they take bribe, you know. But nobody would agree. You know why? They're not black people. They are not Nigerians. The average black man believes that a white man cannot do any wrong. So when they say Otto Gloria cannot take, he's from freaking Brazil. Like Brazilians are saints now because there's a statue of Jesus Christ somewhere in Rio. Is that what makes them saints? I don't understand. But we can't dwell on this forever. It's like I always say, and I'll keep saying, is John Fashanu's truth. I'm not going to argue with it. And for those people who say he didn't mention the name of the coach, you know that my last podcast, I interviewed Samson Siasia, and he couldn't remember the names of players he played with. So I was the one that was not mentioning the people like Shamani Nonda and the rest of them. He couldn't remember some of them, even coaches he played with. So people who say, oh, as a footballer, you're supposed to remember the name of this person, that person, you don't know anything. There are some people that you went to primary school with, you can't remember their name. You see them walk past, you can't remember their name. You went to primary school, even secondary school with your secondary school mate, you can't remember their name. I know a classmate of mine, like we went to secondary school, we spent 3 years together because I changed school, spent 3 years together. Her name is Blessing Idudin. Like it took me, she kept sending me a message on Facebook, like I don't know you. And like, I went to school with you together. As your classmate, I was sitting very next to you. I can't recognize her. Until I went to Warri for one event and she showed up, I still didn't recognize her. She was freaking different, big. She started explaining herself. I had to forcefully accept that I know her, but in my head, in this head, I can't remember her. I said, okay. Oh, we start calling other people's names. So this things happen. It's not like, oh, because you didn't mention one person in there. People are, let me tell you what people are looking for. People are looking for that gossip. Okay, call a name, then they will now start looking for other people to interview to get a continuity on the story. I know how media work. I've been in this industry for, see, next year it's going to be 20 years. Next year, August, it's going to be 20 years I'm in the industry. I know how Nigerian media, the way Nigerian media work, I know it. Nigerian media work on reaction, not even proactive work. That's why, for instance, our football is the way it is. The last ingredients to make our football work is the media. But Nigerian media is not set up to develop, to promote, to project. Nigerian media is set up to pull down. So we have not started the engineering process to develop, to promote, and to project, to pay for content and make content grow. So we look for everything. If we can't see the normal, that normal opportunity that we normally used to have, where we put an FA official, we will interview Jujuma Brand Ebewele to attack maybe the minister, and then the minister will send maybe a director in the Ministry of Sports to rebut it. That's the thing that excites. It gives us orgasm. In all day again, social media don't eliminate that power. You understand? Before you say anything, the essay to the ministers now they are employed when there's Toye Bitoye working with the minister, when there's Kola Daniel working with the minister. What do you want to attack them for? If you attack, you talk for Twitter attire, they're not going to answer you again. Those days of hot shot, oh, let's look, they're not there again. So we struggle. Now, we're not confident to do the journalism because there was a model that we invented. It's called witchcraft journalism that we invented that's no longer working. And at the same thing where bloggers, they do. And when people not get angry with bloggers, But this is what the mainstream journalists were also doing. So now what we just do is react to stories, European stories, news, and the rest of them. We don't really have core journalistic practice anymore. I mean, when was the last time you saw somebody, maybe apart from David Udoyin, when was the last time you saw a Nigerian journalist do an epic that you sit back and like, wow, this is a great job? When was the last time? If they ask you, name 10 of your role models in journalism, and you will not name one Nigerian. But let's move on. Let's not dwell on this matter for too long.
Anyways, the podcast is still on YouTube. For those of you who've not watched it, like I said, it's been close to a year that video was put out. So in case you want to hear the full podcast, I mean, not just about the bribery case. I mean, there's quite a lot to learn from the podcast, not just from John Fashanu as well. There's one with Samson Siasia, and there's others you can also catch up with on the At Least YouTube channel as regards the special delivery podcast. Now, moving on the show, let's talk about our coaches now. Jose Peseiro. I mean, we were in Abuja together. We saw the outcome of those 2 games against Guinea-Bissau. I mean, it was kind of you saw the pressers, the questions he answered, even the type of questions.
Is that the worst presser you've ever been at?
It was. I mean, I felt, especially the Guinea-Bissau one, the whole situation that happened. I felt really embarrassed. But, I mean,
you know the funny thing? I told Peter that I'm not going. That it's not going to work. I said, I'm not going upstairs, and it didn't work. He said, "Bros, how did you know?" I say, "Lee, listen, I know these people. I know my people well enough to be able to predict what they can do and what they cannot do. It's not going to work. First off, there's nobody in Nigeria who went there to hear anything from the Guinea-Bissau coaches. There's nobody who wanted the Guinea-Bissau coach because of that, our attitude, that our arrogance of thinking this one I walk over and a 5-0 would already be the finish. So waiting and walk on talk. That arrogance. So it wasn't going to work, and it didn't work. We were fighting because I put my camera here, put the camera here.
Anyways, we're talking about Peseiro and all that. We lost that game in Abuja. Shocking result. We lost by 1-0, and I mean, quite a lot of talking points has come out from that. I mean, Peseiro, how he sets up his team. I mean, he will be talked about the pitch. I mean, he was asking the presser about the pitch where he said no comment. I mean, that gives you the answer you would want to know, that the pitch, these guys want to play on a better turf and all that. Then we went to Guinea-Bissau, we won.
But there's a flip side to that pitch talk. There's a flip side to it. Like, I'm not saying what it will be said is a lie, but that's not the whole truth. Let's not create a system where we let these players easily off the hook. But I mean, I'm going to wait for your question, but I just need to put that one hanging there in case you want to raise the Wobby stock.
You can still talk about the pitch, but I mean, we were still on Peseiro. Now, his contract expires in June. He's been owed quite a number of salaries, but we got an exclusive from Complete Sport that has been paid over 100 million, part payment of the salary. He's still being owed some couple of months and all that. Do you think we should stick with him for the AFCON? We should continue with Peseiro, or if the funds is not there. If we say one leg of Peseiro, I mean, we need to pay more money for it. But if you want to go higher than what Peseiro can give us, we need to pay more money. But if we want to manage our funds, then maybe it's also going back to the likes of those that are still around and all that. But what's your take on Peseiro? Should we stick with him for the AFCON? Find a way and pay him off his salary and move on. What do you think of the Peseiro situation and moving forward for the Super Eagles?
Well, Peseiro will be the biggest thing on Amaju Pinnick's reign as NFF coach. And once Nigeria goaded him to make the mistake of sacking Ganatrol, sometimes one mistake produces 10 more before you get a fix out of it. So the sacking of Ganatrol is still Amaju's biggest mistake. Every other thing could have been excused as administrative, as the way life comes. But once that mistake of sacking Ganatrol happened, there was no going back. And it's a mistake that always gives birth to more and more and more and more and more. This is what I'm going to say. Knowing the fact that I know Nigeria cannot, all those people that are shouting Avi Renard, if Avi Renard come to Nigeria, Avi Renard's career will destroy. People will forget all the 2 Nations Cup that is won, the Argentina that I beat. Avi Renard will be worse than Raw, will be worse than Peseiro. Listen, Nigerians, and when I say this to people like to insult me, people like to argue, that's their own business. I think when I go to the hospital, my son just had a surgery about 5 weeks now. When I go to the hospital, I don't argue with the doctor. They give me a list of tests for us to go do HIV, sugar, blood clot, all that. We went to a lab in Lekki, we did it. We came back, we start, listening to the doctor. It's only in sports where you'll be an expert, have information, know things, and when you say it, some bricklayer, Larondo on the roadside will argue with you and throw insult without any basis of fact to counter what you say. The way Nigeria is right now, all things being equal, ceteris paribus, as the Latinos will say it, we cannot afford, even Jose Peseiro, we cannot afford it. Let's be very honest. There is no quality coach out there in the world. Chelsea just fired a coach that worked with them for 7 months, and they practically have given up about 24 million. If you add the money that they paid him for the past 7 months, plus the severance package of 13 million, that's about 24 million that they've given to him, or 25 million if I'm not mistaken. But look at Nigeria. And if you look at Graham Potter, for instance, If you look at Graham Potter, for instance, let's be very honest. The standard of Graham Potter is just in that same level where you have Jose Peseiro. I would even pick Jose Peseiro way above Graham Potter, right? So look at Nigeria and ask yourself. There's one word I keep saying, and I say it everywhere, but nobody takes it serious. Maybe because I said that, but I say maybe one day Shango Degbami, who they believe a lot, will write an article about it. They'll take him to the board. Why would he write an article about it when the person that is in power is his brother? They won't write that kind of article now. But let's face it, the national body, because this is where it starts from. I think when we upload the interview I had with Mario Leo, where he talked about the funding of football in Germany, how the funding comes, and then you compare it with Nigeria, then you would understand why a lot of Nigerians should shut up and stop asking for a big coach instead of asking their government to fund sports the right way. In Nigeria, for instance, it is the local clubs that pay the FA. In Germany, it is the FA that pay you for for assembling young people together, because they believe there's a system that makes them believe that when you're training players, you keep the health of the nation up. You reduce sickness, health problem, and the rest. Every club is insured. They pay you. It's not big money, but they pay you a token to encourage you from your province to state and all that to national. And then it helps with gathering records, right? Yeah. But yeah, it's not like that. Okay, so let's even leave that one, because that's a broader problem. The budget, because this is where everything sits on. The budget for the National Ministry for Youth and Sports, 97% of it goes to NYSC. And I don't know why Nigerians don't take this serious. 97% of that money goes to NYC. It is the remaining 3% that goes to sports, not football. That's what football, basketball, wrestling, swimming, and the rest survive on. That's the reason why a D Tigress would be put through qualifiers. They will qualify for a world championship, and then they sit down and say they should not go. You know why? Those girls cannot fly normal economy because of the length of their body. So they will need to fly business class or first class, and the ministry could not afford it. That's the basic reason why they were asked not to go, not because according to people, the guests were being rude or anything. No, that's not the reason. Because we could not afford it. This is Nigeria. This is the reality of today's Nigeria. We either accept it or we forget about it. So going back to the coach, I'm not laying down all these building blocks for you. Going back to the coach, I'm going to say this to you clearly. I would be glad if Gusso would have the boldness to say, okay, go. But who are you going to go bring back? You're going to bring Sunday Olise. If you bring Sunday Olise, you will start the conversation with exactly what you're paying Peseiro right now. Because if you go anything below it, that's a disrespect. Sasa is not available. Sasa is the messiah that know how to get this working, because Sasa have a relationship with people that would make him overwrite the delay in payment, the delay in whatever you are doing to him, and he would get this going before you arrive at payment. Sasa is the guy who have that kind of link and connection. Iguava doesn't have it. Is Iguava a bad coach? No, it's not a bad coach. He just doesn't get the support that he needs. Amonike might be another suggestion, but the last job, yeah. Listen, fans' favorite is useless. It's actually this Amunike talk that made me made the tweet yesterday that the voice of the people is not the voice of God. The voice of the people is the voice of the confusion. The voice of the people gave us Goodluck Jonathan. The voice of the people gave us Buhari. The people should shut up and stop talking, because before they go and give us another problem again. The voice of the people have always given us problem. They should shut up. If you don't know about something, just keep quiet. The voice of the people is never good enough. So they should just keep quiet and stop trying to give us anything. We're not interested at all in the voice of the people. Let people who are in charge do what they are doing, and then they can defend it. The voice of the people say Buhari, he was one of us. He's a PhD holder. He went to school without shoes. Me, I go as far as where I went to school with shoes. Okay? And I was saying, Buhari never steal money. That's even the reason why he should not even go into politics in the first place. Since he come on, now only 20 car we get. A whole former military president, former chairman of PTF, now only 20 car I get. It means it's a waste of resources. It's not a good business manager. But the voice of the people say, make him. He don't do that for 8 years. You know, say with Nigeria, this Nigeria, so now you want to, again, the voice of people should shut up. The last job he did for Nigeria, it was under 17 coach. He didn't qualify. After winning the World Cup in 2017, the next under 17, he didn't qualify. So a coach is as good as his last result. Am I shooting on Amunike right now? No, I am not. But I'm just saying the voice of the people should keep quiet. Let the people we elected to do the job do it. Not the voice of the people force them to do something finish. When they fail, the voice of the people again they attack you. Then the people don't ever take responsibility. That's why I don't want the people they say anything. It's like when why I told my wife, I said, the day you come this house and tell me, say, my pastor say you will go marry your pastor. I don't even want to hear it. Because if that's the way your pastor say will do so, if we do if you go wrong, your pastor will not take responsibility. He will not say again that we did not work in line with the will of God. So let us, if God wants to speak to us, if God is afraid to talk to me and you, then let the voice of God should stay in heaven. If our ear is too deaf, my pastor, God wants to speak to us. So they said
the line from Dax, that Dax song.
So I don't want to hear anything in my house. My pastor say there's something gonna fast. Don't even my in-laws they know. Don't try with me because the very moment you say it, I'll cut you off. You're not gonna come my space again. If God, I don't understand the kind of God that can speak to a pastor and not speak to me. Am I not his son? Will they keep my list? So the same thing with Nigeria. We elected people to run our football. Let them run it the way they like. Unfortunately, sacking Peseiro means that we don't have any good option out there. There are people who would like to do a journeyman work. So if we qualify for the Nations Cup, they will quickly want to come and make a name of qualifying of playing in the African Cup of Nations so that it will boost their CV. And by luck, they might win because there is this idea that Nigeria have a lot of world-class players. But the truth is we don't have a team. And there is a difference between world-class players. Chelsea have a world-class group of players. Yeah. The quality of Chelsea player by name is better than Arsenal players. But Arsenal have a team, a group of young players who will run for each other, who will die for each other. If you do them player for player, there are a lot of Arsenal players that will not walk into the Chelsea team. But they don't have a team. They just have a bunch of players who have big name, big salary, big transfer fee. That's where it ends. As bad as Aubameyang, there's nobody in the Arsenal attack that have a pedigree that Aubameyang have. As bad as Kai Havertz as it is, there is still nobody in the Arsenal team that have his own pedigree as well. Then you're Felix, okay? But at the end of the day, when you look at the team, Arsenal is a team that everybody wants to be like. Even Man City are like, whoa, as good as we are, we know that there's a team ahead of us with 8 points. It's important to know that. And because we've not been able to build a team, I think you see the thing is, when you see Osimhen play for Napoli, you fall in love with him. When you see Osimhen play for the Super Eagles, you hate him immediately. Let's be very honest. Osimhen is so loved, and you were in the stadium, everybody's singing his name. But 30 minutes into the game, you start hating him. You know why? His teammates makes him look bad. And it's not just him. It's Kelechi, it's Alex Iwobi, it's Aribo, it's everybody in the team. That team is not a group of guys who are willing to die for themselves. In 2013, Steve Keshi put a group of renegade, ragtag team. Omero is not ready. Joan Shanuo, Godfrey Boabona, Sunday Umba mixed it up with people like Mikel Obi, and Yogeyo Nazi, who were mainstay, and Ahmed Musa, Victor Moses. And what did we get? We got a Nations Cup on it. You know why? Because these guys, even though they look like mercenaries, they look like renegades, they were ready to die. Remember, we're 15 minutes away from being knocked out of the group stage, and then we got those 2 penalties against Ethiopia. Yeah. And from there, Molda, she wrote, the rest is history. We went on to beat Cote d'Ivoire 2-1, beat Mali 4-1. Who did we play again? Before we went to the finals and beat Burkina Faso. Truth is, we won that Nations Cup with a guys who agreed to be bandits, who who bonded together.
So what's the difference with that squad and this squad? I mean, Omero come out to say this squad is
talent-wise,
or maybe
Omero is my friend, but Omero was high on something. You know, we got 60 cap, and then he got a captain's handband, and that thing can intoxicate you. So I think it was the.
So talent-wise, you disagree?
Which talent? Which talent? Now you point the talent to me. Point the talent. Which talent? So you will sit here and tell me that Terry Murphy is better than Brian Adeyeye. As it is, even I cannot convince myself that Victor Osimhen, the Super Eagles, who don't bring Napoli into the conversation of the Super Eagles, is better than MNK. I can't. You can't convince me about it. Okay, let's go to the midfield. There's nobody in this current midfield that will enter that Super Eagles midfield. Mikel Obi, Eddie Ogayenazi. And Onazi go kick Wilfred in the enter bush. He go sell Gala for traffic. Mikel Obi and Alex Iwobi or Joe Aribo. Joe Aribo no wing. What are we saying now? Like let's even. As in, there is a place where we have a conversation. Mikel Obi is higher than Okocha. You they talk of Mikel Obi and Joe Aribo and Alex Iwobi. Alex Iwobi. We just won't try, stop to the criticize. No. Even so, the Obawe no get club for 2 years. He's way ahead of the players in this team now. He's way ahead of Joe Aribo now. More would they talk through? Then go back to the defense. Go back. Kenneth Omero of 2013 bench Joseph Yobo, captain of Everton. Bro, what are we saying? If you're Ambrose, where they go, they come. If Ambrose was a zipline and they go, they come. They play like Ben White. Joan Shanua, where they play ball like Amroba, where they for Kaduna Abuja Expressway. No, don't Vincent Yama. Peter Yama, where recently we argue about him being the best goalkeeper in the whole of Africa. Can you say that about a player who is an entire career have only one good game? Francis Uzoho. What are they say? Every time people talk about talent, where the talent? Where the talent? Well, now you're making me sound like Shehu Kuti.
Well, what the players are doing at their club side, maybe that's what Omeri looked at and said, okay, because this is a guy who's been part of the two squads. So maybe he has what he saw to make him come out and say that. Maybe because he was too fired up for the team to get a result in that next game, especially after they lost in Abuja. Then he came out to say that, talent-wise, this squad, is better than the one he played in 2013.
If I slap you,
that's why he's coming out to say that.
If I slap you,
but
for this studio,
there's talent in that squad.
I will stone you with this thing. Okay, now we will analyze them talent-wise. Osimhen, let's even be nice. Now. Osimhen gets into the team. Victor Moses versus Moses Simon. No, now you are one you tell me. Moses Simon versus Victor Moses. Who do you pick?
I'll pick Victor Moses.
Why? They see the talent of what Moses Simon they do for a club.
I'll pick Victor Moses.
Good. Who's on the right side of that team again? I can't even remember. Okay, let's go to midfield. Let's even go to midfield now. Brian Day and Terry Murphy. Who do you pick? That Brian Day and this Terry Murphy. Who do you pick?
I won't say Brown today.
You the crazy. You really the mad. You are crazy. You drink something, toilet shit water now you drink this morning. I've seen it. You because you the fear make the men give interview. Your what can be I put it to you that you're can be.
Let's go to that position. Someone's asking you to talk on that. It will be pitch matter. One of the.
I go talk about time. We just talk rubbish. What's it called? Mikel Obi versus Iwobi. Who you go pick? You they see the thinker. You the craze. You see this boy. I don't understand. What is who? You have to breathe to think of Mikel Obi. When we sat down here, and even you open your mouth and say you go pick Mikel Obi over Okocha, which means the fact that you think and you want to tell me that say, it won't be better for Okocha.
No. But you talk about Ndidi and Onazi. I think I'll pick Ndidi.
You the craze now. Now madness.
No.
Onazi way play Francesco Totti at Bush. Now you want picking the ahead of. You not say you do talent water.
Let's not look at the Ndidi we are seeing now. But,
no, the best of Ndidi. But don't forget now this team will they talk. You don't see the mistake where they make now. Now this team will they talk. This team will play against Guinea now will they talk. So now you say, don't look at the Ndidi we are seeing now. Which Ndidi one look? The one that is here to come. What? No, tell me some. Convince me with your analogy now. Give me facts on the table now. Karen Tomara said this team have more talent than that team. You say Wilfred Didi better pass Onazi. Tell me tell me when Onazi get one bad game. Name one bad game Onazi had. Onazi all through from junior national team to senior national team. Name one bad game we get. You know how many bad games Wilfred Didi don't get? Wilfred Didi is just loved by everybody. He's just a quiet guy, very nice guy. Oh, he plays for Leicester City. Let's just be nice to you. Guys, come on, I got my front.
Anyway, let's move on from the whole that comparison. But
Ahmed Musa sitting on the bench. That Ahmed Musa, compare him to many people playing in this set. Ahmed Musa at the end of this set of players. There's no talent in this team. That's one. There's no cohesion in this team. That's two. Then this team, Kelechi Iheanacho. Let's put Kelechi Iheanacho in the conversation. Who Kelechi Iheanacho go bench in that team? The Kelechi Iheanacho that started your game. I played 45, wasted minutes. Who you go bench for that team? Name one person. Sunday Oba. Wilfred Brandy Deye. Emenike. That team where they run like bandits. I beg. Let's not get into it. There is no basis. You can't compare Keke Napep with a Ferrari. It no work. There's nothing. There's nothing in that conversation that puts a Keke Napep and Ferrari in the same conversation. Even in Lagos bad road, Keke Napep let the follow Ferrari drag road. Because if you just crash the motor, you are dead. Shall be these are Keke Napep. You see, we just want to hype them. We just feel that team qualified for Nations Cup winner. That team qualified for World Cup, got to round of 16. This team can't qualify for World Cup. This team went to the Nations Cup and got knocked out in the round of 16. That's the fact on the table. And if they're not take careful, they play like this again, they feel not qualified for the next World Cup. Where they say almost you go shock now, it go shock you. These boys, the next World Cup, they're not qualified. Even when Africa gets, if they give Africa 9 or 11 slots to qualify for.
All right, moving on the show. Let's speak about Shion's question. Say, please tell better to emphasize on the Iwobi pitch issue. You were talking something about Iwobi and all that. That interview was recorded before that game, so people should not think that it came out after the game and all that. But yes, he said what he said. He wants better pitch for the national team. So he came out to say that if they could get better pitch, not many teams could beat them. And all that, so that he's confident to say that not many teams could beat him. So, what do you want to say something?
Before I say something, there's one name we not mentioned: Samuel Chukwueze versus Ike Uche. Yes, Bugatti Veyron versus Ubaka. Samuel Chukwueze now old Camry now, tiny light Camry. No. Don't ever talk that thing again. Don't talk that thing again. Say this team get talent by that thing. Now let's talk about what Alex Iwobi said.
Yeah, before I find out talking point.
I'm going to be very honest with you. It is hard to fault most of the things he said. So everything is said in the context of which he said it were truth until one line in that sentence that got me thinking. If we get better pitch, there are very few teams that can beat us in Africa. That's where he lied. So we got beaten in the African Cup of Nations in Cameroon. The stadium, the pitch in Garoua is a very good pitch. We couldn't reinvent ourselves. And there are a lot of teams in Africa that will beat us blue, black, red, and green. That's one. These teams that are coming to beat us in this our field, whether it's in Benin where we were 4 goals up and Sierra Leone equalized to make it 4-4. These pitches, also the way it affect our team, that's the same way it affect them. And Alex Iwobi, what he just said is the reason why people like Alex have, when I say it, people say I don't know what I'm saying. People like Alex have no business in the Nigerian national team. There's not a footballer in the world who believe that as I'm playing this game, that every pitch is going to be the same for me. Nah. And Alex Iwobi play in some of the best pitches in the world in England. England have the best playing surfaces. And they are professionals. They play in Europe. They are battling relegation. The quality of the pitch have not made them to stay up. They are very good players in that team, right? But they are battling relegation as well. The same way the Super Eagles is battling whether relegation form or not. That's the same way he is playing in some of the best pitches in the world. And they are battling relegation. They are getting battered blue, black, and red every day. Week in, week out, where they get to draw and they celebrate. So Alex Iwobi should not have used that caveat because that's a caveat that spoils everything. Do we want good pitches for Nigeria? Obviously, yes. Do we want better facility for Nigeria? The answer is yes. But then again, when you turn it up, turn it around, and it says that if we get good pitches, we would, there are hardly teams that will beat us. We don't have a team. A team will run its opponent ragged. You saw when people talk football, they always make me feel like I don't play football. I play
They
football.
played Peseiro in Abuja, difficult game, but they won it 2-1.
Yeah.
On a difficult pitch. Then they went to South Korea, they won 10-0 in a good pitch.
You see, when people want to, it's like the Bible. The Bible is the only book in the world that you can use to justify everything. You want to justify stealing, you want to justify prostitution, you want to justify murder, you want to do anything. It's in the Bible. It depends on the perspective that you put it. The 10-0 will beat Satome and Principal. Could just be on their very bad day. Like this is their very bad day because not too many people even can beat them like that on that pitch. So it could be their very terrible day. Nigerian national team, this group of players, have not created a pattern of saying when they go play. When Portugal beat us 5-0 en route to the World Cup, we played in a good pitch, didn't we? Was that pitch bad? It was not something that they talk, they whisper. People they listen to you now. They talk the thing when they talk about when people they hear you now. It was the pitch that they beat us 5-0. Was it a bad pitch? All the friendly matches that we play them away from Abuja, away from Nigeria. You know we've not won anyone. The ones who went to go and play in the US, those friendly matches we went to go and play against Mexico and Ecuador. Was the pitch bad pitch? No.
They are good pitches. You know my answer already.
I don't know your answer. They talk and maybe people they hear.
Very good.
So what happened? Then we play Algeria B team, which is their Chan Eagles team, and play 2-2 draw. And play their senior team and lost. Was it bad pitch again? So what is Alex Iwobi saying? Alex Iwobi does not have a case because as the way law is, they say you must come to equity, must come with a clean hand. If you have proof of evidence that there is a clear pattern that every time you go away and play on good pitches, the result is different from when you play at home, then we cannot sit back and say, let's look into this matter. This thing not be, there's a pattern to it too. But when you play in good pitches, you get beaten. Algeria beaten, draw with you. Algeria 18 beat you. So, Portugal beat you 5-0 on good pitches. Ecuador beat you. What's the other team that will play? After Ecuador, there's 2 games in the US. Ecuador and one other team. Mexico, they beat you. Brother man, all these are great pitches, not just good pitches. These are pitches that will host the World Cup eventually. So, Alex, what are you saying? These people overrun you. These guys took you out. So you can't come and tell me it's the pitch. Is the pitch we have in Abuja good? No, I cannot use this argument now to argue that it's good when I've always said that the pitch is not good. The way they planted the grass is not good. It's one of the worst pitch in Nigeria. Right. Yes, but at the end of the day, that Alex Iwobi's excuse does not work because we've been beaten by 4-0. They say it's 4-0. The Portugal game is 4-0, not 5-0. I'm sorry, my bad. But they still beat us. So if you look at all of that, it does not give Alex Iwobi the conscience, the clear temerity or audacity to come out and tell me, a football follower, a committed one, dedicated one since 1986, that hey, if we play in a good pitch, we will win matches. There are no teams that beat us. Man, they will beat us well. They will beat us blue, black, and red. Not be joke. So they shouldn't even come with that conversation at all.
All right, moving on the show. Please, Peter and Eniovanke, please. I'm not thinking it will be Mikel. Please, Mikel is better. We know. Please.
So you know.
Making her calm down. I'm not.
Because you the crazy before now. The shit whatever you drink that affect your brain.
Making her calm down.
You just answer something straight. You say you are thinking of it. Alex Iwobi and Mikel Obi. See conversation.
All right, let's
Alex Iwobi cannot lace the shoe of Mikel Obi.
Let's move on. Let's move on to a final talking point on the show before we wrap up. I mean, it's about this young man doing wonders with
Sporting Lagos.
Yeah. What's his name now? Shola Akinlade. Yeah, there's a news that broke out recently that he's bought a 55% stake in Danish second division.
In other words, now you get the club.
We are currently top of the Danish second division. On course to gain promotion. So, another Nigerian billionaire, investing in a football club. I mean, I asked you about those Sheffield United.
Yeah, I told you not go work.
I know your stance.
It not go work.
Not heard anything about it. We don't know if it's still.
It not go work.
Let's just wait and see if we can get any positive feedback on that side. But I mean, those trying to get Sheffield United now. Akin Ladina buying a club in Denmark. I mean, Remo Stars doing well. They're currently in America for a tournament as well. They're beyond limit team. Is it a good move? Would you compare this to does this Sheffield United takeover?
No, I wouldn't compare it, because does this Sheffield United takeover is a little bit of unnecessary putting your hands where your leg will not touch the ground kind of thing. Because the English people, knowing how they work, you have to look at the English football pyramid. There are 92 teams in the English football pyramid, professional football pyramid, and of those 92, there's not a single black ownership. So, or a single African ownership. Let's put it that way, because you could argue that the guys that own Leicester are kind of black because of where they come from. They're Thai people and they're black, but there's not a single black ownership. And then again, you go to the coaching side of it, there are only 7, there are 92 clubs, there are only 7 black coaches, and they are getting fired every single day, right? When you get past that, and when I say black coaches, they're not Africans. So these black coaches, we're talking of Vincent Kompany, Paulins, who's been fired, Patrick Vieira now been fired. So if you look carefully, it's only 3 of 92. Then you go to, because you have to look at structure. I was trained in the act of studying patterns. My brain just naturally picks patterns. And it is from patterns that I make my conclusion. That's why when I meet you for the very first time, I'm going to believe you, I'm going to love you, I'm going to respect you. Because there is no pattern that has been created that can make me judge you. I don't know how to judge people. I don't judge people. Everybody is a good person. Until, Tori is not a chief coach, he's an assistant coach. Somebody's mentioning Tori is doing internship.
Yeah, what's the team? Is he Tottenham also?
He's doing internship with Tottenham reserve team. You can't call that a coach. And then you go to football directors. Of the 92 team, there's no one black person as a football director. You think that the integrity test will not allow Dozier to own one? Sheffield United or Sheffield Wednesday, any of those 2 teams, are traditional English club. They are like Newcastle. They may not win a lot of things, but they are traditional English club with deep-rooted ties to the royal families and the rest. To now put a black man from Nigeria that the British people naturally see as non-entities would be one of the most difficult things to have. So they would either delay the paperwork or run out of time and make sure he doesn't get it. That's where I'm saying he's not going to get it. Not like, I have a problem with I don't have a problem with Dozie, but I don't think that that's a possibility, because Sheffield, I don't know, they will not let it happen. And even if it happens, it won't take time for him to lose the club. It won't take time. They would frustrate him with bad officiating. They would make sure the club begins to retrogress, and then they would pay the fans to protest for him to leave the club. That is in extreme case where they couldn't find any fault in his integrity and the rest, and then they let him have it.
But right now, the fans are really can't wait for that takeover. It seems the fans want him to. Maybe it's because they are desperate.
The Man United fans were desperate for Glazer's takeover 18 years ago. The Arsenal fans actually blocked Alisha Usmanov and said it is Kroenke or nothing. It was those same people that said Kroenke must go. But the only thing that kept Kroenke going was the fact that he's an American. And the alliance between America. See, there is, apart from the normal rich man buys a club, which is football club in England is not go to the supermarket and buy. You saw how Chelsea was stolen from Roman Abramovich and given to an American man who doesn't know what he's doing. But because American, you see the fans, the Chelsea fans are even trying, pretending like all the anger they are supposed to have, they don't have it anymore. They're just pretending. They appease them by giving them an English coach for 7 months that make them pretend. You see the British media still looking for excuse for Graham Potter. See, trying to bend the conversation. They didn't allow him buy his own player. They bought players for him. Whenever have we have a Chelsea coach who bought his own player? Have they not always been buying players for coaches? Even Jose Mourinho, did they not achieve results? But let's get past that one and pretend like we are all fools that they want us to be. When it comes to Dozie, they might need his money because since Brexit, the UK, they suffer. And then this Ukraine war is another big problem. And then the BRICS nations, because let's do general global economy. Every nation is looking for how to squeeze any money from any idiot who's willing to throw their money into another people's economy. But the thing is, what is in it for Dozie? Like just a name, right? Because it's not going to ever make a profit. It's never. Sheffield United will never bring you profit. So what is really the deal for him to come out and say, okay, I'm doing this? That's one. Two, that integrity test, how long does it take? How long did it take for the Saudi Arabians' money to be approved to go? They all know that it's blood money. They approved it. How long did it take for the Qatari blood money that they all know to be approved for Man City? How long, has it taken? Did it take for Glazer's money to be approved? How long? They didn't even take time to approve Todd Bowley's money that we don't know where it comes from for Chelsea. Why is those taking forever? One full season done the end. They were still talking about the money. Which kind of test? Did they do forensic blood tests or the rest on his own? I don't think he would get it anyway. But if eventually he gets it, it will take time for them to kick him out. Now, I think that let's stick with the Sporting Lagos idea. I've always said, and this was way before I left Brilla, I've always said that what will change our football is the model that eventually Kole Shaname did with Remo Stars. And this was in the days of Ikorodu United. I remember that was the man who first said he was going to get a court injunction for me not to mention Ikorodu United on radio. And I said that if this club no disband, I will change. Like I go naked waka for Lagos. It's not because I hated the man, but because I know football. I don't own a club and I don't run it from my pocket for 5 years. I know what the mistake there is. When Baribote formed a club called Nembe City, I traveled to Nembe to Bayelsa and I told him in Yanagwa, the model that you're using to run this club, you go crash. There is no way. Football have a set model that works. I might not have a club anymore, but I've made a mistake. I've run a club, and then I also help another person to run a club. I've seen everything to be seen in local football and international football. I know what works. And I'm not saying it because I want anybody to employ me, but I know what works, both from the analog to the digital. I'm sure I'm one of the best person to talk on the mat on the subject. And when I speak from a position of authority, not because I'm guessing or some things that I read in book. It's an experience that I have. If people are talking of fatherhood, I can come out and tell you what it means to raise two boys and a girl. Okay, up to the age of 10, 11, because I have experience. But some guy who's not my some bloody bachelor who goes to nightclub to depend on nightclub kitchen to eat will not be able to speak on that. So I have experience in this area and I speak on that. Eventually, Ikorodu United was disbanded. If you go to Aji Gafar original model was to play in the league, rise, and go to the Premier League. One day I sat him down and I said, listen, we started our friendship by fighting. We almost, got ourselves bloody. This Aji Gafar that we are this close, like to elder brother and younger brother. We came to punch at Oniko Stadium, but then we became friends because, again, we are two the same kind of people. We like to speak the truth, irrespective of who else is God. And so one day I called him, I said, listen, this thing you're doing, you're not going to get money. You go sell all your property. But then again, as a senior man, that's the respect I have from him. He listened. I said, listen, get off the league. Withdraw your team from the league. Go and affiliate yourself with some European club. Start selling because you don't have the money, the funding, the resources to be able to run this league that is manipulated every single day. Right? If somebody does not like you, you don't greet him with the money, they'll give you a bad referee that will wreck you. If somebody just see one favor, ask you for a favor, maybe call you and say your wife wants to go on holiday and say, please help me send me flight ticket money. You don't send it, they will send you a referee that will wreck you. This is something that I know. It's Nigerian football. And he looked at me like I was crazy. He did 2 seasons and exactly all of these things that I said happened. And then he called me that, okay, he wants to change it. And he changed it. Within 2 years of changing it, 3 of his players went to the Olympics to win bronze medal. Let's not talk about the backstory of that one. But then, within that period and now, he's sold over 60 players to Europe. Does he play in the Nigerian league? No. But he's made more money than a lot of people. He was a guy who negotiated the Victor Osimhen. The original deal for Victor Osimhen was 50,000 euros. But he was a guy who negotiated it to 3.7 million. Even though, because of some people's foolishness, the whole money didn't come. But it was also the guy who put the clause that makes it possible that as soon as Victor Osimhen moves now from Napoli to any club, some people are going to get a joyful payday. He's the guy because he worked inwardly. Ebenezer is playing in Inter Milan today. Who made it happen? I was the genesis of it in 2019. When I told Alexander Agoda, look, if you want to run football, this is how you run the football. So the point here is sometimes people need to listen to experienced people. When they were doing this, their O1 betting Sporting Lagos, I said, this is a recipe for disaster. The kind of money that this guy have, he should go buy one club in Europe and then focus on the players, younger players, real age young players, groom them, and then begin to transfer them, because there is no business that you would do. You have spent 1 billion and there is no return. There's no pathway for return. And that's how Nigerian football is. That's where it is frustrating. But if you create a club in Europe where you can move the player there, they play well, you groom them, because you're working with a system in Europe. You know the expectation. Just like what Vendreza is doing, just like what Beyond Limit is to Remo Stars. You can ask, okay, this is the expectation, this is what they want. You take the players there. If you spend, let's say, in a season in Nigeria, $500,000, and you sell one player, $1 million, that's a profitable venture. Yeah. Ebenezer to Inter Milan is 1.7 million. 1.7 million. And since he went, they've not paid the money, but they are not calling them, please come and collect your money. The player you gave us is too good. We don't want to have any issue. Come and collect your money. Because they've trained them. They also got a good coach in Coach Olumide. I think the best young coach in Africa right now. I'm not even saying Nigeria. In Africa right now, by my own estimation, I might be over-exaggerating.
It's with the team now in the US.
He took them to the US. You see what he's doing. No African team has ever gone to Verraggio and got all the way to the quarterfinals. But he went there to Verraggio, even using other players that he has not worked with, and took them to the finals. Lost in the finals on penalties, if I'm not mistaken. That's a good one. Again, in the US, is making great progress. And he will continue to, because he's well trained and he keep, opening himself for more training. Having said that, I think finally Shola have not seen, reasons. Now the club is going well. And if you notice, the former coach of the Sporting Lagos team have now been drafted to the academy. Yeah. That same thing that I said here some time ago, that they should set up an academy, groom the real players that will take over. Forget this their own thing that they are doing, inviting celebrities to come and to stay there and make noise. It doesn't work. It's not a model that works. I know it looks like what they do in America, but even in America, they focus on the basketball player first, the athletes first. The athletes are the juice that people want to come and see. When people begin to come to stadium because they want to come and see one failed Nigerian musician that have smoked Igbo and forgotten how to write songs, you're not doing the project well. You're killing yourself. I know that he came upon a lot of money from the pay tax sales, but at the end of the day, spending money without replenishing it, you will lose the money. But I'm happy with what he's done. I mean, he's 38 years old. You are allowed to make mistakes. But then with the kind of money, I know he's an intelligent person. You don't just become, I've always said that there is no billionaire that is stupid. There's no stupid billionaire. But wise billionaires can still make stupid decisions. But now that he has reverted, I think he's on the right path to success. In a couple of years' time, we will see the success. Next thing is to own their own facility. I don't know when, but I think it will be a great idea to see them own their facility, because with clubs like Remo, Sporting Lagos, Vendreza, I think we're heading to that place that we used to, 10 years ago, that we used to dream that we don't want government club, we want private ownership, investors coming to invest in football club. If this becomes a success, Vendreza becomes a success, I am saying myself, my corner, I'm saying Nigerians will now, other people, the dossiers of this world will want to come and invest in Nigerian football. People like the Mario would grow and get more money and be able to also repeat the same process. It's a very hard one, but it's not impossible.
All right, it's been a wonderful time on the show. I mean, we've said a lot on the show, and for those of you who've tuned in, I want to appreciate you for being with us all over the last 60 minutes on the show. It's been an interesting conversation. Quite a lot has been said. A couple of questions is coming in. Guys, please, what's the update on the under 20 World Cup? Now the hosting rights has been taken away from Indonesia. We are waiting for a new host.
Yeah, new host.
Yeah, even the under 17 World Cup has been taken away from Peru as well.
I was supposed to go to Indonesia. I was already preparing for that Indonesia thing because I have a film that I'm doing in Hong Kong.
Oh, yeah.
I thought I should go to Indonesia and size up. I wasn't going because of the World Cup, but I would just use that World Cup period to get to Indonesia and size up the scene if I can do a film there in Indonesia as well. But now that they've taken it, it just might affect me. But hey, my film in Hong Kong is coming through. We are halfway through getting stuff. I will keep posting videos on my Twitter feed or Instagram and probably short videos on YouTube as well.
I don't have subtitles to those videos because of
No, we're not there yet. We've not even started editing. We're just there is actually it's a working plan. It's a full project. There's gonna be subtitle. There is subtitle. The people speaking English, there's Chinese, Mandarin subtitle. There is the people speaking Chinese or there's English subtitle. Right. It's a full. See, it's a Netflix standard production. Do you know how many people would wait to criticize and insult me? Have you forgotten I'm the bad boy of media? People like this Edavida think he knows too much. Let's mess him up. I know already. I'm like Raymond Reddington. I know the plan before you even do tick up.
All right, it's a wrap on the show today, guys. Stick around for the Ninja Players GPS and the next 1 hour on the radio dial. Don't you go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Una do well, make I live una. This is Maui Smoking Book on studio today. But we'll forgive him. That's our favorite guy. Fine boy, no people. Aha. Thank you.